We are now live. Let's
Yay.
see. Yay! Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, I'm here with my good friend Sepidar. Many of you heard me saying her name and said, you need to go see her. I actually did that today too. I'm like,
Oh, really?
yeah, she might have gotten back to you, but I was like, you need to go see Sepidar. So I'm here with Sepidar. Sepidar, would you introduce yourself briefly while I kind of double check that we're live?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Sepidar. I am an intuitive healer. Um, Live in Richmond. What else?
That's it. That's good. Let me just double check. We are live. Can some people comment if you guys? Oh, here we are. We're live. Okay. So we're here today. We're talking about healing happy hour. So this is an opportunity for me to bring in another Alpha sister who's also a healer like Sepidar and get a chance to talk about like our own ways of how we help other people through our healing. So we're gonna hear more about what Sepidar does because she has a very unique energy healing modality that's really really powerful that I'm a big fan of, and then we'll just chat about kind of being a healer, like being an intuitive healer, because it's not a medical healer, right? It's clinical healer. We're a different healer, so we'll just chat about being a healer. If you guys are watching and have any questions about energy healing in general, intuition in general, have a question about the work we do, what we talk about, feel free to comment. One thing that we ask is you put your name because this platform we use to do side-by-side broadcasts inside a group, we don't see your name. So, oh, there's Lori. Hey, Lori. I'm looking at my phone to see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's what we're gonna do. So, Sekadar, let's get to the beginning. How did you even get to become an intuitive healer? How did you get into it?
So that is a question that people ask me oftentimes when they come to me, and I'm like, I wouldn't say I got into being a healer. Like healing kind of got got into me, like it found me basically. So, but the story behind it is that when it was, gosh, it was 6 years ago. I think it was 2014. And I was at a point in my life that like everything on the outside looked fine, but then internally I was like, there has to be something more. Nothing that I would normally do would satisfy me. Like, I don't know, my plans, my like little shopping things, or like little tricks that I would do to like lift my spirit up. So there was this like underlying sort of a depression, I would say, that I couldn't find any exact like reason for it at that time. And there was this um like as a seeker, like I would always look for something more than what was already happening. So then, as you know, universe delivers. um I received this book from a very from a stranger basically. um the book was Power of Now. So that is the um I would call it the miracle of my life, because it totally changed my like the course of my life, and it changed the trajectory. And it opened my eyes into a totally new world. um so that was the begin, like the first awakening, so to speak, that put me on this journey. Then everything was only for my personal healing and exploration and all that. I never had the thought of like becoming a healer. I never had the intention. So um, I started taking yoga classes, and it happened to be Kundalini yoga class. And then after a couple of weeks of taking the class, I dove into a teacher training, which was a very potent and um, strong training. Like energetically, it really um, changed so many things. And then shortly after that, I heard about Reiki, and I heard that it's very helpful on if you're on a spiritual journey and you want to like learn more about energy and all that. So I never had a session before. I never knew, like I knew nothing about um energy or chakras or anything like that. So I just jumped into it. And I took my level 1 and 2. There was a requirement of like waiting 6 months between level 1 and 2 and then master teacher level, and I barely met that. Like it was like 5 months and a half, and I was like, "Can you please let me in?" And
So you've been doing Reiki for a few years, but then
yeah,
just recently, like last year, you kind of awoke to this perfectly unique energy healing modality, right? Like
right.
energetic reprogramming. How did,
Hmm.
because I remember you coming to my space, we're doing a tea time and we kind of talked about it. You're like, this is happening. So tell us that. Like, how did that come about? Because, like, I think that's really cool and unique. You started out with the book, your own self healing, and Reiki and Kundalini yoga, and then you did for a few years, and then like something happened, right?
Yeah. So, as you said, I practiced Reiki for a few years on and off, and then it was like I was more focused on it in the past couple of years, and then like I started receiving guidance and like doing things that I was not trained for. And I just started incorporating those things into my sessions. And I remember talking with you, and you gave me a book, and I started reading this book about shamans, and I realized that I was doing some shamanic work that I had no idea what it was. So that was it. Kind of started developing, but then this specific thing, energetic reprogramming, kind of came to me really abruptly. So the interesting part of it is that I didn't know that I had that ability. Um, Again, as you know, universe creates synchronicities. There was this person that came to one of the events that I attended. We started talking, and this person started telling me about me, the things that I didn't know. So he told me that you can do this, and I was like, wait a second, can I? So I started experimenting with it. First, like working on myself, and then it worked like surprisingly like amazing, and I couldn't really deny the results I was seeing, the huge shifts that it created in my personal life. And then I think there was that tea time with you and a few other sisters, and that I was so excited about it, and I started talking about it. So you guys offered me to kind of like work with you as practice, and I started gaining more experience and learned as I worked with you and a few more people after that. So it became a whole, like a full process that now I offer to clients as a service.
Yeah, so you kind of had a baseline training of Reiki, and then you started getting this intuitive kind of inspiration to start incorporating things, even though you weren't sure. And then like some validation came from other people, and then it evolved into this unique thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us a little more about this energetic reprogramming.
So if I want to give you like a little bit of shorter definition of it, basically all of us, we carry this big and little programs, what I call programs. Our subconscious mind, or our ego, I use these two terms interchangeably, holds on to these programs from mostly from our childhood. And then when we are grown-ups, those programs no longer serves us, but the subconscious mind doesn't know how to let go of it. So what I do is that I work with people who feel this like sense of there is something that is slowing me down, or there is this resistance that I know where I want to be, I know what I want to do, but then there is this bump, like it's like a roadblock. It's like doesn't let me move as fast, or it doesn't let me move at all. So they have that vision, but there is something blocking that. And then they come to me, we talk about it. Usually it is not what is like on the top, on the surface level. So we need to um, basically dig a little deeper and see where that comes from. Most of the times, again, it comes from something in our childhood. And the purpose of it is almost always protection. It's like survival or protection. So as little children and physical human beings, we are very vulnerable. And especially when we're younger, we need a lot of protection, and we need to um, nature had to put something in place to make sure we survive. So a lot of the time it's like physical, and so many times it's also emotional. Emotional support from our caregivers is a very important part of our survival. So we want to make sure that we receive that love and care. So within each and every interaction we have with our immediate family, caregivers, or school system, or then society in large, we like our subconscious mind or ego is taking notes and creating this little programs and saving it in the background so it can run it automatically, so we can have our focus directly on what we need to take care of in daily basis. So the good thing about that is that it runs automatically, but then the not so good thing about it is that it doesn't know how, like when to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are adults, we have a much larger capacity of taking care of ourselves, and we have like a totally different vision and goals from like when we were, I don't know, 6 or 7. But then those old little programs are still trying to protect us from things that doesn't exist anymore. So in this work, we find them. We find the reason behind them, so we can have some sort of a gratitude that lifts the resistance up. And then I work energetically to remove that program. And there is a, excuse me, a process to get to the place that that program is stored in the body or around our body. I'm not going to get into the detail of it, but so we remove that program and then we replace it with a new one. And we work on like creating how you want to feel, and how now that this old program is gone, how you feel and what are the possibilities. Let's create a memory in the future that you don't have that block and you're free to do whatever and be whoever you want. And we put that back in the place of the old one. So basically we get our ego or subconscious to work in our favor rather than against us.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool explanation. You did a good job, Sepidar.
Thank you.
I mean, I received the session, and the work I do with my clients, I channel their ancestors, their guides, they're my guide, and I look at their karmic past lives. I get a lot of insights, and often we can come to a place where once I discuss what I've seen, like we can come to a place where my client knows, like, oh, like we identify the programming. And then we're like, so the next step is, until we work through this programming, we can't get to all these magical things you want to get to. Like, right now your subconscious mind is running this program for survival mode. You can't get to magic when your energy is running the survival mode programming. That's why I'm like, go see. So next step is go see Sepidar, get that program cleared, come back, and then now we're ready. Like so I really appreciate the work you do, because it allows me to kind of send off to like someone that I trust, that's powerful and can do that specific work, and then they come back and they're like ready to work. And then we can do what I do really well with my clients. So I really appreciate that. But what are some of like cool, like maybe examples? Is it like some of the like examples of what the program, because what I worked with you was hypervigilance. So mine was hypervigilance, guys, like constantly like feeling like I have to constantly working in hypervigilance in general, so I couldn't just be at ease and feel safe. But what are some of the powerful common things that you had to reprogram for your client?
So some things that keep like coming up, and I mean, when I started working, the things that would come up was like more like smaller things and more specific things, like what you just said, that we work together. But there was more of like much deeper things, such as unworthiness, or shame, or
yeah.
so it's like the whole thing, like most of the times it goes back to like self-love, like lack of self-love, and why it happened, like in the process of interactions with caregivers and all that. So those are like huge things that I've worked, and it really works perfectly. Something else was people pleasing. I've worked with a few people on that, and it is magical. I mean, I get so excited when I do it.
Yeah, because if you could just remove the people pleasing, then all of a sudden your boundaries are better, your energy is protected, you value yourself more. It's like all trickles down into tangible impact in your life. I think that's what I really love. Because, isn't it, as energy healing, we can't, like, you can't see the only proof that this energy healing is working is through what our clients' life change. They're right. Like we can't show you, because if it's medical, you had a cough, we healed you, no more cough. Like there is that physical example, but as an energy healers, the only proof of what we work is how our clients feel and how their life and the around it kind of shifts and changes, that transformation. So, oh, did you freeze? Sepidar. Oh, did I lose her? I see her. Oh, there she is. Oh, she left. She'll come back, you guys. Don't worry. She'll come back and I'll bring her in. So I don't know how many of us you guys are watching, but we're doing Healing Happy Hour. I really wanted Sepidar to come and talk about her energy reprogramming. I might be slightly biased because I think she's magical and the work she does she's worked. I've sent her so many of our sisterhood, so many of our mutual friends have gone to her. My sister has gone to her, a couple of like very close friends of mine have gone to her. So, and have experienced like improvement. But I don't know. I think, what kind of questions do you have about healing? So shamanic healing that I do is, so the healing work I do is different in a way that I do a lot of karmic healing, the soul's healing, your soul's past lives, that your soul's experience in the past, before this lifetime, what kind of information or trauma or programming or understanding or belief that happened where, click the link again, Sepidar. Let me just help her. She's like, how do I get back? I'm like, click the link again. Let me just help her with that. Oh, click the link again, I think. So I do a lot of karmic healing. So I look at your past life, your soul's experience, because sometimes whatever your past life experience or conditioning that happened in that lifetime can have an imprint on your soul. And then every reincarnation since then, you're manifesting certain aspects of your experience in one way or another. So seeing it, identifying it, and then bring it into the fold so you could understand it. And then I see you, Sepidar, I'll bring you back in. And then being able to be like, okay, this is a new information that we see that it's impacting my life. And then that helps us to move forward with our next step in healing. So Sepidar is back. Let me bring her back in. There she is.
Okay.
How to close Facebook, Sepidar, so there's no echo. So from your computer, just close Facebook out.
I think this will help.
Okay, cool. So Sarah's watching. Sarah, please make a comment if you want to kind of share what you've been experiencing. What did you work on? Any question you guys have about healing? So while you were gone, I was just talking about some of the past life, soul retrieval, kind of karmic healing that I do. So a lot of my healing is looking at the past life, understanding the past life, and then doing a healing to the imprints, whatever the imprint that made from the past life. We heal that so it's no longer impacting your current lifetime.
Yeah. One thing that I want to add um, about the question you asked before I got offline was that I worked with money issues and abundance issues. That is, those are the things that there are huge programming around them. So
Yeah.
I worked on myself, worked with a few clients.
I find, yeah, I usually bucket them. I've done healing with clients, and I feel like there's unworthiness is big. Um, and then abandonment, fear of an abandonment, being
Mhm.
alone or rejection. So abandonment is another. Lack. Um, so if you on your browser, if you have a Facebook open somewhere, just close out because what you're seeing is on the Facebook, it might be. Yeah. So there's a lack. So abandonment, unworthiness, lack, and then actual literal trauma from our childhood. Like whatever she left again. So those are the four buckets, I think. I don't know if you guys identify. Like, let's say, um, usually comes down to those four buckets. Our like a self-sabotaging patterns, uh, like our controlling tendency, like all those things. What's up the surface? You might say, "This is what I need to work on," but if you go deep into the layer, it's usually one of those buckets. It's unworthiness or it's fear of abandonment. Um, so. So there she's back again. Sepidar, if this
Sorry.
doesn't work, we're just gonna wrap this up.
Yeah. No, I started hearing my own voice, and I think what happened was that I had another tab open with the same program, and that was causing the echo.
So you did
We're
good.
good now. Yeah. Sorry.
So what is the hardest thing? What is the hardest part about being a healer, Sepidar? Let's talk about that. What's the most difficult thing being a healer, working on this type of things?
Um, I don't really know. I mean, most part of it is very enjoyable for me because that's like for me it's like my creative outlet. I I learned about it after the pandemic and when I didn't get to see my clients for a while and I didn't know what to do with the energy because that
Mhm.
was like the way that I used that flow. But I'm trying to think about something that is.
I think most common thing that energy healers need to really be careful about is energetic boundary, for sure,
Mhm.
because there are people who we identify as, or people identify energetic vampires. We are magnets because I think where like the energy we give out or our ability to take their sufferings away, people's sufferings away, it's like their vibrations. So I feel like sometimes like we can attract a lot of people who want to just suck that energy for so energy vampires. So a lot of healers can be a magnet for energy vampires unless they practice very intentional boundaries and then they
Yeah, that's for
practice in a
sure.
very intentional way, right?
Yeah. I mean, I experienced that more in my personal life than professional life. I think I knew how to set those boundaries and like hold on to them with like the work that I do with people as my clients. But then it happens a lot that I get like caught off guard while I'm not in my healing room and like in daily interaction with people. So yeah, for sure that is something that is it um comes with the package, you know, like sensitivity and being empathic is a big part of I think being a healer and it it makes you be more sensitive towards other people's emotions, and you start picking up on that. And then for a long time I didn't know that I feel other people's feelings. So I thought the whole thing that I was feeling was mine, and it was a lot. So I was like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And and I work with clients who are kind of in the process of expanding now. So then they are sometimes identifying like sometimes I'm like acting like people that I'm around, but then I'm not even, I'm like, well, yeah, because it's your healer, you're clairsentient, and you're absorbing the energy. It's like, so how do we do that? So we do a lot of work on kind of setting the boundaries and being really intentional. What are other challenges of being a healer?
Um, I guess something that most healers probably experience to a point before they realize how to get rid of it and heal it is that it is considered a spiritual work, and then putting like a number, like a price on it. Some people know it as it's not acceptable for some people, so they think it should be free.
Mm-hmm.
um, and that is one of the programmings, obviously, that we kind of like take on. And um
I
I,
haven't personally encountered people who expected the healing work to be free, actually. I've actually encountered peers, alpha sisters who are working on their business that felt shame and guilt for charging price for the work because they feel like, well, I'm a healer, I'm supposed to um, like help the humanity or help people. Like I feel guilty, and then usually we look at the karmic life and like she had like multiple lifetimes as like a monk in a monastery, or like Mother Teresa type of like, so all those poverty, like whole sacrifice, and this like resistant toward material thing got kind of coded into the soul. So then we have to kind of work through those programming. um,
mhm.
but I guess it could be to both. So it might be like somehow, yeah. I mean, I've had people who are like, how dare you charge what you charge? I've had people kind of explain, not how dare you, like why is your rate that? And I'm like, oh, you want this I learned when I used to be a fitness trainer, because even as a fitness trainer, I'll get clients who are price shopping. And like what I learned to do is, oh, you're looking for a budget. Okay, here, and then I would recommend them to a few that I knew their rates were lower. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't try to justify like, oh, okay, well, if you're looking for people who can do similar work at a lower rate, I do know some people, and then I just send them to them. But there's a
Yeah.
comment. So someone who said, I think Ariel is saying, this is very relatable. I'm usually a very patient person, but today I had an appointment and I was very agitated and impatient in the waiting room. It got so bad I actually left. And
Oh.
on my way home, it hit me that that wasn't even me. I was
Yeah.
picking up on the energy of the other person in the waiting room and taking it on as my own. Yeah, girl.
Yeah. There is like at this time, like anxiety is like number one, because some days I wake up and I'm like, there is absolutely no reason for me personally to be anxious. And then I start like searching like in my immediate like surroundings, like people that I live with, like share space with, and then like what is happening in the world and in our cities and like larger
Yeah,
scale. So that is totally
yeah.
true.
No, and you don't even have to be a healer or shaman or intuitive or someone that happens. Energy is energy. So if you are just a little bit more sensitive, you're gonna feel that. It's very common thing. I remember this is like 15 years ago or something. I had my dog. My dog was awesome. I had my dog, and then at the time I was just under a lot of stress. Like the guy I was with was away, so we're in kind of long distance, and my dog, and I was busy, and and I looking back, like back then, like everything was like, wow, it's like it was very dramatic to me. So, because I was still not learning how powerful I was. Anyway, so I was under a lot of stress, but I didn't express. It was all within me. And then I found that my dog started pulling. He was a white dog, and then he started like pulling on his. He started like pulling his hair out of his tail, and then eventually his tail got like this pink rod, like
Oh.
and I couldn't understand what that was. And then I found that, oh my God, my dog is sensing the stress, sensing the energy and the
Mm.
stress. And he was trying to, like, she was just trying to. So as soon as I kind of noticed it and then, like, kind of brought myself together, and I was like, oh, I need to, because now I'm like, oh my God, is my dog like pulling her own hair out because of my stress? As soon as I realized that I kind of shifted my intention, she stopped. And so,
Mm.
like, the hair grew back. And I just remember, like, you don't have to be all psychic to experience other people's emotions, you know? Julie, we're not reading cards today. We're not giving guidance. So let us know if you have any questions around energy healing, if you want to share your experience of getting energetic reprogramming done with Sepidar. We're kind of highlighting Sepidar's work as of an energetic reprogramming and just chatting about being a healer. And then Sepida, how about we also, you know how there's so many people who might be thinking, I think I might be a healer. I want to explore this path. I'm kind of curious if I should, like, do you have any advice or maybe like your recommended next step that they could do in terms of like exploring this path too?
Sure. It's like, I would say, I think that the simplest thing. So first of all, we all have that in within ourselves. So it is not really like absolutely necessary for you to like seek out and like gain, like go for like a training or something. But I would say that is very helpful. It gives, personally for me, it gave me a framework to start working with, and that was very helpful in terms of um, confidence and trust. So because if it is difficult when we just start, it is more difficult to trust the magic as you when you get a training, and when someone who has been doing it for a while tells you that, okay, now you can do it and you have the power, go do it and don't worry about it. It feels better to just go and do it. So in that case, I would say Reiki is one of um, the most beautiful and softest and easiest way of like entering this realm. Um, Based on my personal experience, there might be many other ways, but this is how I feel about Reiki, because it's not really, you don't have to like learn a bunch of stuff. It's just an attunement or placement, as it is called now. So you get like your energy system will get adjusted in a way that you will be able to channel the energy. And then another good thing about it is that because it's not your personal energy, it's not your own life force or prana, um, there is like less chance of like getting drained and like depleted. And also you will feel more protected because again of that process and system. So those are some benefits that getting a training such as Reiki have, and then that gets you started, and then you just go with the flow and you open up your intuition more and more, and you will develop your own way of practice and being.
Mm-hmm. I didn't do Reiki. I consider Reiki, consider pranic healing, and then I ended up doing shamanic healing because at first I thought I'll start with Reiki because Reiki was an easy kind of entry. Most people heard about it. Most people have gotten sessions around it. You don't have to really convince people about it. So I was considering it until my guide said, you're supposed to get trained in the thing that you got healed from, because I had a really powerful healing sessions of my childhood trauma 3 sessions of shamanic healing with soul retrieval lifted, like it just cleared my childhood trauma that I had been carrying for 30 some years. It was just the most incredible thing. But then I was looking at Reiki because I was like, oh, shamanic, look at me now. But back then I was like, shamanic healing is so weird. Like I can't even explain that. It's going to be so hard to convince people about that. So I'm going to do Reiki because it sounded easier to kind of build or get into. And then my guys were like, no, you need to do shamanic healing. So I ended up in my 1-year program, and I had to go to North Carolina for a year, like not the whole year, but like every quarter I had to go for a training. And that was really great to, I tend to be really impatient. Like, oh, it's like, let me just do it. So for me to have to stick with something for a year and like the same cohort, same teacher, and then like the extensive modules and programs and practicum hours we had to do, like that was, I think, good for me. I would have loved it to be just, I think I could have done it in 6 months if they had I wish.
Well, that was, I guess,
was
why
oh
you
my
were
God,
you
around
were
9 months,
guided to do that
yeah.
the way you did. That was like the reason you needed to go
Yeah.
through that process. That was part of your healing journey.
Yeah, and
I would say it like there it is gonna choose you. Like it is like you will be guided to.
Yeah, I do think in full year program, first 6 months, we're basically healing ourselves and healing each other. So first 6 months, that was rough. Like the first 6 months, the training, we're just digging out the darkest, like dirtiest, like most painful stuff and healing it. And it's like, oh my God, what's happening? And then around 9 months, like the third quarter, we would like entire cohort, like we've been working, clearing our own self and then clearing each other. And then around 9th month, we'll be like, what do you have to clear? Like, I don't know. We're all so doing well. We're all very thriving. I'm like, oh, maybe sugar. Maybe I don't want to eat so much sugar. You want to do that? Like, and then my teacher is like, if you don't have anything to clear, don't look for it and don't clear. You're good. And we're like, oh, okay. So we just feel good. So that was really cool to kind of, and then during those 6 months of clearing and 9 months time, every one of us, our lives were transforming and expanding. So it's kind of good to see, like I was kind of forced into the program to witness it, not just for me, but for other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Comments, I feel strongly that I'm supposed to be a healer, but when I have looked into Reiki, it just doesn't feel like something I'm interested in. Do you think it's better to research ways to be a healer and see what stands out or just to wait for guidance to come when it's time? That's Ariel again. So another example, so I think another advice that I have is if you're not sure Reiki is your thing, just like I had shamanic healings done and it was powerful. I would have never known that had I not gotten those sessions done. So another way that you could kind of come closer to that guidance or clarity is kind of be more like exploring, getting some sessions done, experience how, and I want to caution you don't want anybody to touch your energy and work on your healing. So you want to go to people who are kind of vetted or kind of you trust and it's kind of recommended. You don't want to go to anybody because everybody can represent. That's a whole other world. But another way is kind of experiencing it. Like get a session, what's healing with Seal like? What's healing with Sepidar like? What's healing with this Reiki practitioner like? So then once you kind of get some more healings done, then you have your own experience to get you more clarity.
Yeah, because although like Reiki is one thing, but it is very different from practitioner to practitioner. The essence of each person would get kind of combined into how they deliver it and what you receive. So yeah.
I mean, some of my mentors and teachers that I trained from, some are amazing. I still call for a mentoring call. Some like she did a powerful work for me, but like I would not send anybody to her, so you never know. Like you never know. It just, I think it's all divine timing, divine guidance. you know. But I recommend getting different work, like a few different like sampling sessions done, because then you kind of, so it's like think it as internship. Oh, no, I don't even, what's the word? Like, yeah, sampler. Getting a little sampler sessions done, and not get it done 1 week after another, right? Like each time you get a healing session done, you do want to take a few weeks to really integrate that at minimum. Don't you agree, Sepidar?
I would, yeah, definitely.
You
To
can't
just,
like, we don't want you to go to Sepidar this week and then next week come to me and then go like you know, the quantity doesn't really matter.
yeah, to be able to like get a sense of how it feels and like to integrate what happened. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So thank you for asking some great question and sharing, Ariel. Thank you for watching. So anybody else have any question? We are happy to share. So my last question I have jotted down for you, Sepidar, is what are you working on for yourself right now?
Well, that is a great question. And the last thing that came up for me a couple days ago, actually, and I was waiting, I knew that there is something, and I was kind of like asking for it to become clear for me, is perfectionism. So, that is the very last thing that it came up for me. I'm still like working on understanding it and like dissecting how exactly it has been affecting my life, and where it came from, like the process of reprogramming that I usually go through with clients and people. It is much easier for me to do it with someone outside of me because I hold space and I kind of help them to like bring it up and out. For me, when I do it on myself, it takes longer because I have that resistance and it's very uncomfortable. So I work slowly when I work with myself and on myself. So I take one step at a time. It just came up that I realized that that's a thing that has been with me forever, basically from when I was a um, child and very young, and then I figured where it came from, what which person in my life had that effect on me. So then the next step would be to just take the time and like feel the readiness for sitting down and removing it, which I feel like I'm getting close to. But that has been something that has been preventing me from being more creative and like being more comfortable with expressing how I exactly feel inside of me. So yeah,
Kim
that's
Marie has commented. She says she's right now feeling very depressed and can't bring myself out of it. So I don't know if we can do that, Sepidar, but can we tune in for her and see if we can provide some healing guidance for her?
Sure. So yeah, what immediately came to me is that like, and it has been a theme with the people that I work with. It's solar plexus, the third chakra, because there is a lot of uncertainty and fear these days, like in our society and within our personal life, there's always something. What happens is that we kind of like to protect us from losing energy from that center because of fear and all that, like uncertainty, we close it up, and then that is the main center, I think, that has to do with depression, because we give and receive sun energy through the solar plexus, as far as I understand. So one thing that would be very helpful with that is you can just get as much sun as you can. Even maybe just like lift your shirt up and like expose your belly to direct sun, or you can put your hands over your solar plexus and send love and bring your focus on that spot and do some self-healing work. You can envision sun and like ask for the energy of it to come to you. You can surround yourself, or you can wear yellow clothing. That really helps with that center and the energy of that center. I mean, that color has helped me a lot because I have gone through like a relatively long period of depression, and having that, like the pops of yellow color around me, really lifted me up. And also, it is always helpful to seek out for help. So many times when we are like so deep in there, it is hard for ourselves to like lift that heaviness up. So any type of healing work would be definitely
therapy,
helpful.
even like any other, not just energy healing, right?
Exactly, definitely.
What I also add to that, Kimberly, is that part when you say I can't bring myself out of it. Sometimes that pressure and sense of urgency that you have to snap out of it, and you need to like pull you out of it. Of course, we don't want to dwell in a deep depression and just get really comfortable in it and be there. But sometimes this, you got to feel what you feel. And sometimes our anxiety to pull yourself back from it before you actually feel what you needed to feel can just create more suffering. So I would also advise you that this part of you feel like you need to bring yourself out of it. Is it because nobody else can? So like Sepidar said, instead of you taking responsibility of getting your depressed self like snap out of it, I feel like I'm the one that's depressed, I'm supposed to like snap myself out of it. That's just too hard. So like maybe shifting your mindset around that, and then seeking help. Next question. Sarah just added to that. She said her acupuncturist today said a lot is going on with planets too, and the equinox, autumn equinox. Our acupuncturist is not just acupuncturist; she's magic also. I'm just letting you know. I'm surrounded by my interior designer is awesome, but she's not just interior designer. She's like total psychic. My acupuncturist, she's not just acupuncturist. She's a total psychic. My graphic designer who built my website, so psychic. So I'm just my entire life and business runs with so many powerful women like us. I
wanted to add something about depression, or any other thing that we kind of like struggle with, is like kind of like taking the time to process it and like kind of like trace it back to see where it came from, because I feel like awareness is the most important and the very first step of healing. So when you know why, it is much easier to take like proper action.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. Self-awareness is such a powerful healing tool, self-healing tool, self-expansion tool, knowledge tool. So Sarah, my friend Manjuri, who's also Ayurveda MD, complete like legit MD in Ayurveda from India, also very psychic. And she said everyone around you is psychic. That's right, David, because we're all a little bit psychic. And then once you start kind of working on healing your own self and really becoming your most authentic, thriving being, then your intuitive power just expands too. So you become this really psychic woman, and you don't have to go out there and say, "Hi, I'm psychic." You do what you do, but the psychic magic just comes to help you. I'm telling you, my interior designer, I mean, everyone. Manjuri says she's closet psychic. You're not. Manjuri, you should come to our next, we should do a healing happy hour again, so we could do. When I first started exploring this psychic stuff, I do card readings and stuff, you guys, and I can now like pull a card and just intuitively tell you all this wisdom. When I first started, and you could watch the old videos from 2016 and 17, is I would pull a card and then I had to read you a guidebook message. I had to pull a card and then read a guidebook message. That's how I got started. And Manjuri helped me. We did side-by-side readings. So she'll pull a card. So we're both kind of closet psychic at trying to come up. But Manjuri, that's years ago. I know how powerful you are. We should do another healing happy hour where we show up with this, evolved version of how psychic we are. But I remember, so some people who felt, oh, I don't think I'm as intuitive. Are you kidding? Like I was reading guidebook message, like for several months, and then eventually you do enough practice, and then it just becomes, it just changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Manjuri says she's embracing her gift. Good for you. All right, so that's awesome. So today we're not reading. We just wanted to talk about healing, and because I think the world could use more healing. World is in always need of healing, and healing in so many ways. I feel like people who make delicious food are healers. People who are nurturers and teachers and mothers are healers. There's healers in all of us. When I say healer, at the soul level, there are certain people who at the soul level, they're healers. So they could be writers. They could be like working at advertising agency, but that at the soul level, they're healers. So they're always healing in some way, right? They're always making people suffer less in one way or another. So that's what we mean by being a healer. Manjuri said, I asked a client yesterday if she was grieving when she came for allergy testing, and she said she had her mom's death, a year anniversary, and 2 days that all she's been thinking about is missing her mom. Yeah. So this is what happens, that, she doesn't tell her client she's psychic, but then her psychic gift, her intuitive gift is able to, do her work as a healthcare professional. But anyway, I lost the train of thought. I don't know what I was thinking, but I also want to just put a plug out there. So this was wonderful, Sepidar. Thank you for spending time with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I feel like you and I do very similar type of energy healing. So it was great to just talk about it. And like 2 thumbs up. I just highly recommend Sepidar. But then there are other healers, right? So if you guys want something like this done, because I'm always looking to, talk, chat. I don't want to be always me rambling on. I want to bring other wisdom and insights and magic. So if you're like into, if you are a healer about herbalism, or maybe you heal through creativity, or maybe you heal through food, or like anything, if you're interested in doing something like this, reach out to me. I definitely want to bring people that I've personally worked with. So my disclaimer is, if you are interested in doing this and you have worked with me in one capacity, you guys will get the first dibs. How can we book Sepidar? Of course, we'll share that information with you, Laurie. Sepidar, what's the best way? We could comment. You could just post the link and everything after this blog.
Yes, I will do that. So my business name is Soul Serene. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I have my website at soulserene.net. I will put all the links in the chat for people to be able to find me. And I also offer consultation for energetic reprogramming, and that's free if you wonder whether it is for you or not, or have questions, you want to know more about the process. I'm always happy to jump on a short call or like a Zoom call to talk about it. But yeah, you can just look me up. If you check my personal page, I think the links are also there.
Yeah, but we'll just add it on this thread, so you could just find it pretty easily. Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for asking good questions and making comments and engaging. Sepidar, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful and fun.
Yeah, we love getting together and chatting anyways. This was good for us. All right,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Great. Good night. Bye.